have are not only live, but they will then be posted, and we have a very, very large distribution list that goes actually farther than Laguna Hills. That it's actually very much on a regional basis. And so just to let you know, when you're in part of these events, there'll be a lot of people seeing it. We have hundreds and hundreds of people who will then watch it in DVR fashion whenever they're available. So let everybody know that if they have missed the live event, let your friends and associates know that this event will be available in streaming format probably within about 24 hours. So we thank you for letting us know in advance that many of us, of course, have wanted to have this live event with Lisa, and Lisa has been so gracious as to come several times to several live events. We are hoping that the next event when she will join us will be live indeed. But in the meantime, we have this wonderful technology, and we have Jennifer who has made it possible for us to meet all virtually. So thank you, Jennifer, for that. And so I'd like to turn it over to Jennifer to introduce our keynote speaker. Jennifer, go ahead.
Yeah. So couple quick, I'm going to be doing this right now. I'm going to just mute a couple people. So just a couple quick, we are being recorded. So if you are not comfortable being recorded, you can just hop out if you want. Since Ms. Bartlett has also agreed to this, or at least her staff did, by the way. Your staff said it was fine. So we are recording. So that is something, so you can view it later, and we can also share it with more people because the information that she will have would be very important. So a couple of housekeeping. Hopefully we got a few more people. We had about almost 50 people sign up. I'm hoping they come in a couple of minutes. We sent a reminder out just not too long ago. People might be driving home. There's actually a little bit more traffic. Some schools have started, so I had some traffic today as well. When you come in, we're going to mute you. We're going to ask you not to unmute yourself. We're going to ask you that you, if any questions, use the chat function at the bottom. I will be reading those off when Ms. Bartlett is ready for the Q&A portion. She's got lots of information, so she may have a question that your question may be answered, and if it's not, we can go there too. So, and if you have any other questions that may come up later on, you can always reach out to her office or to me, and we will forward those questions on to her staff and to her. So I was going to read a intro off a piece of paper from Ms. Bartlett's office. However, my printer won't work. So I'm going to, of course, it never works when you need it to work. So I'm going to bounce out for just a second and read the statement, and then hopefully that helps. So just want to introduce Ms. Lisa Bartlett. Supervisor Bartlett represents the fabulous 5th District on the Orange County Board of Supervisors, which encompasses all South County cities and unincorporated areas. She is known for supporting projects she believes in that will improve economic development, property values, and overall quality of life. Supervisor Bartlett brings that prolific vision to the 5th District and Orange County at large, and is a strong proponent of fiscal responsibility, accountability, and greater transparency in government. In addition to her role on the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Bartlett currently serves as president of the California Association of Counties, which represents 58 counties in the state. She was recently appointed to serve on the board of directors for the National Association of Counties. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lisa Bartlett.
Thank you so much for that gracious introduction. It's great to be with you all this evening, even though we're here on a virtual basis. Hopefully we'll be able to get together in person in the not too distant future. So I know we have limited time tonight, so I'm going to break it down into a couple of areas. Kind of status of the economic recovery here in Orange County, an update on the COVID-19 testing, and then the county assistance for businesses in the 5th District. And then if we have time, we can get into certainly other things during the Q&A session. I'll be able to answer any of your questions, but as always, just want to say it is an honor and a privilege to serve all of you in the 5th District and representing the county on the Board of Supervisors. So relative to the status of the economic recovery, we are currently in the red tier. So we started off in the purple tier, which is the most restrictive, and then we were able to move to the red tier. And last Tuesday, we were so close in being able to move to the orange tier. And it's it's really important to get to the orange tier at this point because it means that so many of our businesses are going to be able to open at least to 50%, if not fully. So when we talk about the different metrics that are in place relative to the tiers, in order for us to move to the orange tier from the red tier, we have to have new cases that are 3.9 per thousand, 3.9 per 100,000 or less. And as of Tuesday, we were at 4.36. So just a little bit over, but we were trending in a really good position up until Tuesday morning. And it might have been from the spike in Labor Day, we're not quite sure. And the other metric are the positive cases. We need to be between 2 and 4.9% with a 7-day average and a 7-day lag. And we're really good in that situation. We're 3.1%, so we're really solid there. So hopefully within 2 weeks or so, we can recheck our numbers and be able to get down to the orange tier. And people ask, well, how is it that we got through purple, through red, and almost to the orange so quickly? I just want to thank everybody for really getting the word out there to adhere to the public health and safety guidelines that the state and the county have provided. With the social distancing, face coverings, I know they're so uncomfortable to wear, but they do make a difference. And frequent hand washing and then hand sanitizers when you're out in public. So those things are making a huge difference. And we're doing so much better than our surrounding counties. When you take a look at LA County and San Bernardino County, they're still in that purple tier, the most restrictive one. So we are making great progress. And our goal is to get back to opening Orange County as quickly as possible. I talk to so many small businesses and large businesses every day. I'm working right now very closely with Disney to try and get Disney reopened again, so they don't really have to lay off those 28,000 workers. That would be devastating to the local economy. And they have health and safety protocols in place where they deserve to be open, but they're getting grouped in with mass gatherings right now, so we're trying to get that separated out for the theme parks. But getting every business reopened at this point is one of my top priorities. And as president of CSAC, we have a kitchen cabinet that was formed. So it's the 4 officers in CSAC and 3 additional county representatives throughout the state. So just 7 of us. And we have regular phone calls with Dr. Mark Galley, who is the state's Health and Human Services Director, and Ana Mata Santos, who is the governor's cabinet secretary. They have been meeting with us virtually, either teleconference or Zoom meetings, since COVID was basically an outbreak. And we've made really great progress. We've been able to push back on some of the metrics that the governor was almost insistent upon putting in place. There's a new health equity metric that's going to be coming out shortly. And we've been able to modify it so that really just about every county is going to be able to attain that particular metric. So we've made a lot of great progress, but we've got a long way to go. And we are pushing every single time we meet to relax the metrics, to allow more businesses to open, and really push the governor and his administration in that direction. So relative to testing, we just finished a great event today at St. Nicholas Church in Laguna Woods. We want to get as many people tested as possible because it helps with our test positivity rates by getting people tested. So I can tell you our 18,000 employees at the county, they're very well tested. So it's sort of a captive audience we've got there, and the CEO basically sent out a mandate that says, look, we've got metrics to meet, and employees are going to get tested early and often. So that's happening. But the event today was for some of our seniors in the Laguna Hills, Laguna Woods area, because a lot of them have been sort of sequestered at home, and now they're starting to get back out again, but they want to get a COVID test, and they don't necessarily want to make an appointment, go to their doctor. They just want that peace of mind that they're okay. And so we had a free drive-through testing event today for 400 seniors at the St. Nicholas Church, and they'll get the test results back probably tomorrow. So it was just a really well-received event, and we hope to have more of those throughout the district. So basically, though, who should get tested? because a lot of people are unsure about testing. So if you have any of the symptoms relative to COVID, if you have a cough or you're extremely tired and you got a headache, a lot of the symptoms are very similar to the flu. So just keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, call our county health office or call my board office, and we can certainly walk you through some of the details of whether you may want to get tested or not. There are free testing sites throughout the county. And there are also a number of locations through the healthcare providers that are providing testing as well. So virtually anyone who wants to be tested, whether they've got insurance or not, can get tested. And that's also helping with making sure that if they test positive for COVID, we do contact tracing and we get them quarantined for 2 weeks right away, because that's helping keeping the spread of COVID down to a minimum. We currently have 2 super sites for COVID drive-through testing. One is up in Anaheim, and the other is going to be in Costa Mesa at the fairgrounds. But if you need more information, you can always go to the county website, and that is ocgov.com, and just click on the novel coronavirus banner at the top of the page. So that's it regarding testing in Orange County. So I want to move on to Small Business Grant Relief Program. We were able to provide, through the CARES Act dollars received from the federal level, $75 million broken up into $15 million for each supervisorial district. So we put together a really robust funding program to small businesses, and that were eligible for grants up to $10,000. And nearly 100 businesses and nonprofits were right in the city of Laguna Hills. Overall, we gave out about 1,500 grants to small businesses. So it came at a really good time for them to get their businesses sanitized and get PPE ordered and get things up and ready so that they can open up their businesses again. The program was from June 22nd and ended on July the 19th. And I want to just thank the City of Laguna Hills and the Laguna Hills Chamber of Commerce, who were really helpful in getting the word out there to all of the small businesses to participate in the program. We have another really great program that's in place right now called Safe Dine OC. So it's for restaurants. And this is also part of the CARES Act funding that we received. So restaurants are eligible for grants up to $5,000. And it's for the purchase of masks and gloves, other personal protective equipment, site reconfiguration if you need to put any plexiglass between your booths or tables in your restaurant, employee training, and also cleaning supplies. So if you can get word out to all of your restaurants in Laguna Hills, that would be great, because they're going to be able to get a reimbursement up to $5,000 for just things that they do on a regular basis right now anyway. The application period started on August the 6th, and it runs through October the 16th, or when funds run out. So I would recommend that you get those restaurants to go on the site and really put their login information in right away, because then they'll get in the queue for the funding. And let's see. The restaurant owners who have not yet applied for a grant should get online right away. I want to give out the website information. It's safedineoc at ocbc.org. So safedineoc at ocbc.org. The county has enlisted OCBC, the Orange County Business Council, to actually distribute and process all of the grant funds. And they've just been great to work with. So I know that over the past several months, it's really been a big roller coaster of emotions, and there's been a lot of calls into not only our office, but to the county, into our healthcare agency and social services relative to people feeling anxious. This is a time where I think a lot of people are feeling very stressed. They may have lost their job, or a spouse has lost their job. Unemployment is still high. We're in the middle of a recession. We're dealing with COVID-19. So it's a very stressful time for a lot of people. And we want to make sure that everyone who is feeling anxious or nervous, if they have any type of mental health conditions that they feel need to get addressed, we have a mental services hotline, which is 714-991-6412. 714-991-6412. So please feel free to call that number, or you're also welcome to call our county hotline, which is 714-834-2000. So county hotline, 714-834-2000. We're all in this together, and we will get through this together. We're getting ready to wind down our Project Room Key program. So the hotel that's in Laguna Hills, the Laguna Hills Inn, that program is going to be ending on October the 16th. And all of the participants in the program will be transferred out to other housing options with wraparound services. So, you know, we're not going to open the doors and let everybody out on the street. We've got a place for each person to go, and for housing and for wraparound services. The hotel, since the initiation of this project Room Key, the county has provided over $75,000 in transient occupancy tax, the TOT tax, to the city of Laguna Hills. So that's been a really great financial benefit for the city to have that extra TOT come in. And at this point, I think I want to wrap up the comments because I know there must be a lot of questions relative to economy, opening, closing, COVID-19, and things at the county. So I want to be able to open it up to any of the attendees to just start throwing questions my way.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bartlett. We appreciate that. So if you have any questions, I ask that you put them in the comment section, in the chat section, and we will read those off to her so we all don't have a big, screen grab. So I had a quick question about the hotel that was Project Room Key. How many homeless did you tend to at that location since it was since its inception?
Okay, I don't have the latest numbers. There were 77 rooms there total. Okay. And there were just probably a handful of the rooms that were used for actually the COVID patients. And so we started taking in a number of the homeless that were veterans or the seniors or disabled and putting them in a different wing of the hotel to basically get them off the streets and get them into the system of care. So what's great about it now is a lot of the street homeless, we're going to be able to get them into county programs, get them into housing, get them with wraparound services, and give them the greatest opportunity to get their lives back in order again. And once the hotel is closed for the Project Room Key, we are going to go in and refurbish the entire hotel. So it's going to look brand new.
Nice.
Yeah, it didn't look like that when we took it over.
No, it didn't look like that.
But I can tell you when we finish with it, it's going to look just perfect.
That's perfect. All right, does anyone have any questions? I put in the chat section for Ms. Bartlett.
Yeah, I had a question, and I hope you don't mind me asking one that's outside of Laguna Hills, but I'm sure that there's people in Laguna Hills that are employed by are employed up in Anaheim. But if you'd like to read my chat, I guess I could read it verbatim as I wrote it. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, go ahead and do that, Bill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I retired from the city of Anaheim as principal water engineer back in December. I have a great deal of personal connection to Anaheim, its employees, and the Anaheim community. And I'm sure some of them live in Laguna Hills. What really is the status of the financial stability of Anaheim, considering the Disney layoffs and the core business of Anaheim as a destination?
Anaheim has been impacted to a very great extent because Disneyland and the downtown Disney and the operations there relative to the theme park, it not only employs a lot of people right on the premises, but there's the ripple effect throughout the community of Anaheim. There are so many other hotels, restaurants, and other retail businesses that are severely impacted because Disneyland is not open right now. So Disneyland is the largest non-government employer in the state of California. It is the largest employer in Orange County. The second largest employer is the County of Orange at the county. So when you consider the impact to the county generally, but to Disneyland as a city, there is a tremendous impact financially and otherwise to the local community. So that's why I'm working very hard at the state level to try to get the theme parks reopened at this point. Right now, the theme parks are classified with mass gatherings and would be in the most restrictive tier. And really, they should be classified in a different tier simply because with the theme parks, you've got, you can bring people into the theme park at different capacity levels, like 25%, for instance, of normal capacity, and they're always moving around in an open air environment. Very different from the other mass gatherings like Staples Center with 30,000 seats, or the Rose Bowl, or Angel Stadium, or the Honda Center, where you're going to be sitting next to people inches away from you for hours at a time, and probably an enclosed environment. So it's a very different kind of venue, and we really need to get up there to Sacramento and plead our case to the governor and his administration, because we've got to get Disney and a lot of these other theme parks reopened at this point.
And then I have another question for you. How is the county and the supervisors planning on taking the shortfall from taxes? Any plans on cutting services anywhere for the next 6 months to a year to 2 years, what you can see down the pipeline of the shortfall we've had from just sales tax in general, from lack of Disneyland being open, car sales, just general sales?
Right. We are preparing ourselves, not only sales tax shortfall, but also perhaps property taxes as well. The real estate market is pretty strong right now because interest rates are relatively low and there's not a lot of inventory on the market. But I can tell you we are heading into a very deep recession. And at some point that's going to affect property values. There'll probably be more properties on the market. Prices will drop. But what we're having right now is, because we're in a recession, we've got COVID-19, so it's kind of the perfect storm of things relative to the sales and property taxes. So property taxes last April, we received a good 96-97% of property taxes that were due and were paid. This December is going to be very telling, because now we've gone through another cycle and we've got COVID to deal with, and unemployment is still relatively high. So we don't know what we're going to get in at the county level relative to property taxes, but that's our major source of revenue at the county, are the property taxes. So that will be very telling in December what we actually receive. But looking at the sales front, we know that sales are down everywhere, whether it's from restaurants or retail operations, the malls, etc. The sales tax revenue is definitely down, and that impacts the county as well. We have tremendous reserves at the county, but we are going to be eating into some of those reserves simply because with the shortfall on revenues from the state for some of our critical service programs, so CalFresh and some of the other programs that we have, these are our safety net programs. Once we got into the recession and then COVID, the request for some of these critical services skyrocketed. And the county is responsible for providing services to every person that is in need of those services. So there's a huge funding gap because we received revenue from the state for the services, but it's not enough revenue based on the increased amount of requests for services. So that's one thing. And then just with services in general across the board at the county, any of the vacant positions we have, our CEO has authority to basically freeze or eliminate a lot of those positions. So it's not as though department heads have money in their budget and they can start filling positions. Those positions are frozen or eliminated, and they've actually got to come back to through the CEO's office and then to the board to fill those positions one by one. So we're really tightening our purse strings right now in anticipation of moving into a deeper part of the recession. So we're really planning carefully at this point, looking at all the numbers really on a monthly basis and being very cautious with our spending right now.
Well, thank you. Do we have any other further questions? We're good. I'm actually going to bring it over to Carl Heft, our president and CEO of the chamber.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. And I wanted to introduce two additional board members that without whom none of these events would be possible, some of the most hardworking board members we have, and that is our wonderful Vice President, Sherry Feinberg, and our very hardworking Government Affairs Director, Jake Anderson. So thank both of you for joining us tonight. And I wanted to ask Lisa a question, and that is, do you feel like there will be any further notices, especially I know you've been in touch with the governor, are there any loosening of restrictions right now that are in place, especially on such things as restaurants and in particular any indoor establishments? Have you heard anything coming down the pike?
Not any restrictions lifted in general. But that's why it's so important for Orange County to get from the red tier to the orange tier. Because when we get to the orange tier, restaurants are going to be able to go from dining in restaurants from 25% capacity to 50% capacity. Malls are going to be able to open up at 100%. So the restrictions in that regard, when we get to the orange tier, are going to be lifted to a much greater extent. And we were so close on Tuesday, but not quite there. So we're hoping within 2 weeks that we're going to be able to reach the metrics for the orange tier and be able to put all of those things in place, because then a lot of our businesses are going to be able to reopen to a greater extent, and some businesses that haven't been able to reopen are going to be able to open up again.
Great.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. Jennifer, take it from here.
Yeah, so unless you have any closing remarks, Supervisor, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for us. I know you have, you're stretched thin. Everyone wants a piece. So, but we appreciate it. And we know that, you know, Orange County will bounce back. We have before. Orange County has gone bankrupt in the past, and we're not headed that way. So to let you know, we're not headed that way. They've done very well to recover from that years ago. But we will come out of this and we will be stronger. We'll learn a lot of lessons. So any last words, Supervisor?
I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening. I always have an open door policy. So I think just about everybody's got my cell number, certainly my office number. Feel free to just pick up the phone, send an email, send a text if you have any questions, or if you just want to chat. Happy to speak to anyone about anything. So we want to be there to be helpful. My staff is fantastic. They can help in a number of ways as well, but utilize me as a resource. There's so much going on at the county right now. Things are moving very quickly on a whole host of fronts, and we want to be a good resource for you to answer your questions and help give you guidance along the way as we move through the recession and through COVID and reopening up our economy. We want to be there as a really helpful partner to the chamber and to the city and to the residents of the county.
Well, thank you again so much, and thank you for everyone showing up tonight. We are recording this, so some of you came in a little bit later, and we will put it up when it's done, and it will be a copy goes to the supervisor's office as well. And our staff is open. I mean, I've had things where I've called a couple of your staffers all sorts of times, and they've always been very, and if they didn't know, they found the answer for me. So, and that goes from everything from Laguna Hills all the way down to the coast. So we can do that. So, but just to let you know, if you need anything also, the chamber's here for you. So if you get lost, I will be also posting when I repost this, the phone numbers and the websites that she called out on the email. So on the video. So, but thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we're going to stay on here for now.